Hello everyone, this is Brendan Strains. It's been a while, hasn't it? Today I thought I would do a special video on a special set I had just managed to get back up and running recently. This set has not been shown on the channel or to many people for many years. This was due to many repairs getting in the way of things, and I couldn't find the parts to make this engine complete. However, recently I finally managed to find the parts for it, after the parts being out of stock for well over 6 years. The set in question is my MTH Premier New York Central and Hudson River Railroad 999 Empire State Express passenger set. This particular locomotive was first made in 2009 and was the very first scale model done by MTH with the new Protosound 3 command control system. When MTH brought these locomotives out, they had done two different variations, one of them being the 86-inch drivered version, and the other variation being the 70-inch version like you see at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. With the two locomotives, they have also released a pack of 3 passenger cars to go with these, that being a baggage, a combine, and an observation. There was older variations of the 3.9 models, but they had Protosound 2 in them, and their tenders were a little bit taller and fatter in order to accommodate the Protosound 2 system. So with the new PS3 system, they were managed to make a more accurate size of tender to go along with these 440s. Once I got it home, I would run it for about half a week until the board decided to kick the bucket. I mean, this was a 7-year-old engine, and if you let engines sit for a long period of time, there's always a chance that the board could blow after a little bit of operation. Because of this, I would immediately call up Eastside Trains up in Kirkland, Washington, and they were able to fix the locomotive, thankfully. However, they had to remove the smoke unit in order to put the new electronics in. This was due to the board being discontinued because this locomotive was released in 2009. They didn't have any boards that were small enough to fit in the engine and the tender without removing the smoke unit. This wasn't a massive deal for me since I rarely use smoke units on my engines, and in the end it was worth it because I got a new sound set in the locomotive, and it sounds way better than what it did when I first got it. To give you an idea of what the locomotive sounded like before and after, here is a video of my friend Swindle Steamworks 3.9 model. He very graciously allowed me to use one of his videos to do the comparison. His 3.9 still has the original sound sets from 2009, so this is exactly what the engine looked and sounded like when it was first delivered. As you can see with his video, the locomotive has a hooter whistle, which is a 1-chime whistle. The chuff sound was a little bit lighter than normal. And you didn't see this in the video, but when these engines were first delivered, they had the Empire State Express passenger station announcements. I will show you the sounds of my 3.9 later when I run it at the end of the video. But that is basically what the engine looked and sounded like when it was first delivered in 2009. Back to the repairs, when I got my 999 back from Eastside Trains in early 2019, the locomotive would unfortunately receive a little bit of damage from FedEx. The cowcatcher got bent forward a little bit, and one of the crosshead guides broke off of the cylinders. And since the parts were discontinued, I had to wait about 6 years just to get the parts. At first, I thought the crossheads were a part of the cylinder, so I first had to look for a new cylinder set. Eventually, I did find a cylinder set that MTH had. They're now bringing the parts back in for these 440s because they're doing a new run of them. Unfortunately, though, there is silver on the cylinders instead of just full black. But I decided to bite the bullet and purchase them because you don't know with these parts, and considering it took 6 years just to find these, it was not worth it to continue waiting. About a week of waiting, I would get the parts in, and then I had to take the whole engine apart to remove the old cylinders in order to put the new cylinders on. However, there was once again another roadblock in the way. So when I got the new cylinders in, one of the crosshead guides broke on that one too. But thankfully, the original crosshead guide on my first set of cylinders were still intact. So I was able to put those on the new cylinder set, and I found out later that they can be unscrewed. So I didn't need a new cylinder set, but I got it anyways just to make sure that I have everything. I then spent the time removing the old cylinder set and putting the new one on. And I must say, even though the silver is not accurate on the engine, it fits it really well. So I might keep the silver on there instead of putting on the old cylinder set that I have, because I just think it looks better even though it's not prototypical. Now, to make up for the lack of educational history in this one, I want to go and mention how I got the 999. Eventually, I would take another family vacation to Indiana to see some relatives, and in the process, a couple of my family members took me to the new I Love Toy Train store location. I would be greeted with a lot of model trains on the shelves and DVDs everywhere. After looking around for a little bit, I would eventually discover the 999 passenger set. In the process, I would also meet Jeff and Tom McComaz, the two people that were in charge of the store. Back then, I was a little bit overexcited about seeing all the trains, but thankfully they were pretty patient with me. I would learn how they got into trains and why they eventually started to make videos related to them. I decided to choose the 999 set in the end to take home with me, since it was one I was drawn to the most. Before I picked up the set, they did put the locomotive on the track to show me how it looked and sounded, and I was very impressed with how it ran and the passenger station announcements the locomotive had. Before we left the store, I would eventually discover by them that this particular locomotive and the set was the very same one used in one of their more recent I Love Toy Trains films called I Love Toy Trains Ticket to Ride. Which I will say, Jeff, I doubt you're watching this, but I speak for many people out there in the railfan community to say thank you for making those videos. I'm sure a lot of us will remember them fondly, and they will continue to make the childhoods of young railfans to come. Thank you for what you've done. Anyways, that's it for now. I'm now going to show you clips of 999 running on my layout. Next time, we'll be doing another history video on certain kinds of steam locomotives that are unfortunately no longer with us. See you all then.
Let's get our steam. We've got a schedule to keep. Swing that spout over. Okay, that'll do. Now oil around the wall.
the water plug while the cars are being added.
Okay, the glass is full, but the tank is getting low.
Well, she's steaming pretty good today.
Like always, the shop guys did a good overhaul.
Well, this old girl sure was in need of a good overhaul.
It was hard to keep a head of steam up. When the loads are added, we should have a clear track.
As soon as the conductor gives us the sign, we'll be on our way.
I hope we get going soon.
There's the signal now.
Let's highball.